You're lying in bed. Tomorrow, you have a meeting, or a difficult conversation, or maybe just a regular interaction, and your brain is already there, playing it out, scripting what you'll say, imagining how they'll respond, rehearsing different versions. If they say this, then I'll say that. If things get awkward, I'll redirect with this. If they push back, here is my response. Your mind runs the entire conversation before it even happens. And sometimes, you rehearse conversations that might never happen at all. If that sounds familiar, psychology says there's something rare about how your mind works. Not anxious, not overthinking, not too much. Rare. Most people walk into conversations and just figure it out as they go. But you're preparing, strategizing, running simulations. I've noticed something about people who do this. They're not doing it because they're scared. Their brain processes social interaction at a different level. Today, we're breaking down 7 rare traits that show up in people who mentally rehearse conversations. Listen for the one that feels like it's describing you a little too accurately. And if you know someone who does this, who rehearses conversations in their head, who plans every word before speaking, keep watching. Because by the end, you'll understand exactly why they do it. Trait 1. High precision communication standards. When you rehearse conversations, it's not just about what to say. It's about saying it right, getting the tone correct, choosing the exact words that convey your meaning, avoiding misunderstandings before they happen. You're not rehearsing because you don't know what to say. You're rehearsing because you know how easy it is to be misunderstood. One wrong word, your entire point gets lost. One wrong tone, suddenly you're the bad guy. One missed nuance and the conversation goes sideways. So your brain runs simulations to find the clearest path. I've watched this happen countless times. Someone says something in the moment. It comes out wrong. They spend the next 3 days wishing they'd phrased it differently. You've already thought through 5 ways to say it. Consider how each version will land. Anticipated the misinterpretations. Most people speak first and think later. You think first because you respect the weight of words. What you say matters. How you say it matters. When you say it matters. You're not leaving that to chance. So when you finally have the conversation, it might look effortless to the other person, but you prepared, and that preparation made it smooth. Trait 2. Consequence processing before impact. When you rehearse, you're not just thinking about the words. You're thinking about what happens after. If I say this, they'll feel that. If they feel that, they'll respond this way. If they respond that way, here's where it leads. Your brain runs a prediction model, and this is where people misunderstand you. They think you're being pessimistic, catastrophizing, creating problems that don't exist. You're not. You're seeing further down the timeline than they are. Most people live in the immediate moment. You're living 3 moves ahead. I had a friend who'd get frustrated with me for this. Just say what you feel. Stop overthinking it. But I already knew what would happen if I just said what I felt. The defensive reaction, the hurt feelings, the misunderstanding, the conversation spiraling. So I chose a different approach. Not from fear, from foresight. People who don't rehearse often cause the exact problems you're avoiding. They speak impulsively, regret it later, create unnecessary conflict, then act surprised when it goes wrong. You're not shocked. You already ran that scenario and chose differently. This requires seeing beyond the present, holding multiple timelines simultaneously, understanding that conversations don't end when words stop. They ripple outward, and you're tracking those ripples before they form. Trait 3. Dual emotional safety management. This one runs deep. When you rehearse, part of what you're doing is protecting yourself, making sure you don't walk into a situation where you'll feel small, where you'll be caught off guard, where you'll be vulnerable in a way that doesn't feel safe. Rehearsing is emotional preparation. Your mind is saying, I need to know what's coming so I can handle it. But here's what people miss. You're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting them too. When you rehearse, you're thinking about how your words will affect them, making sure you don't hurt them accidentally, making sure you don't come across as harsh, making sure the conversation doesn't damage the relationship. I've seen this pattern repeatedly. People who rehearse are often the most considerate communicators. They've already thought through the emotional impact. They have already adjusted their approach, already softened their delivery, already found the version that's honest but kind. This is why you rehearse even simple conversations. Not because they're complicated, because you care about how they feel. You don't want to leave emotional damage in your wake. That level of care is rare. Most people speak without considering the aftermath. Say what they think, get it off their chest, move on. You're thinking about what stays with them after you leave, how they'll remember the conversation, whether they'll feel respected, whether the relationship will be okay. Not overthinking, emotional intelligence. One reason people feel safe talking to you, even when you're direct, you've made sure it won't be cruel. Quick pause. If these first three traits are resonating, precision, consequence processing, dual safety, you're seeing a pattern. You don't rehearse from anxiety. You rehearse because your brain operates at a level most people don't reach until after the conversation goes wrong. The next four traits explain why this happens. And number 6 might be the most validating. Trait 4. Multi-branch scenario mapping. When you rehearse, you're not just thinking it through once. Your mind builds multiple paths. Maybe they'll be receptive. That's the easy one. But what if defensiveness kicks in? That needs a different approach. Some people just don't get what you're saying. Then what? Others go completely silent and shut down. They flip the whole thing back on you. Your mind prepares for branches, like a chess player planning 3 moves ahead. Except the game is human interaction, and the pieces are emotions, words, and relationships. This is exhausting, by the way. Not bad, just work. While others are winging it, you're organizing a decision tree. People who don't do this get blindsided. Someone responds unexpectedly. They freeze, react poorly, say something they regret. You don't freeze. You already considered that possibility. Already have a response ready. Not scripted, prepared. And that difference matters. Preparation doesn't make you robotic, makes you flexible. You adapt in real time because you've mapped the territory. This shows up especially in high-stakes moments. Job interviews, relationship talks, conflict resolution, boundary setting. When pressure's on, most brains go blank. Yours goes into simulation mode. Cognitive advantage, not scrambling. Selecting from options you've already stress-tested. Most people experience conversations linearly. One thing, then another, then another. You experience them dimensionally, holding multiple potential futures simultaneously, choosing the path that leads to the best outcome. Trait 5. Behavioral pattern database. When you rehearse, you're not just guessing what someone will say. You're predicting based on patterns you've observed. You know how this person responds when they feel criticized, what tone triggers defensiveness, when they're likely to shut down, when they'll deflect, when they'll agree just to end the conversation. You've been watching, learning, cataloging their communication style. Now, when you rehearse, you're using that data. I've had moments where I rehearsed a conversation, and when it happened, played out almost exactly as predicted. This is not mind reading. I've been paying attention to their patterns for months. This is why rehearsers seem unusually prepared. They are. They've studied the other person without realizing it. Know which words land well, which topics to avoid, how to frame things so they'll be received. Not manipulation, attunement. Not controlling the conversation, communicating effectively. Effective communication requires understanding who you're talking to. This requires 2 things most people don't combine: observation and application. You observe how people communicate, then apply that knowledge when needed. Most people either observe without applying or apply without observing. You do both, while your rehearsed conversations often go smoothly. Not guessing, calculating. Trait 6. Cognitive load frontloading. This is the one people almost never talk about, but one of the most important. When you rehearse, you're reducing the cognitive load of the actual interaction. Think about it. Walking into a difficult conversation unprepared, your brain does everything in real time. Process what they're saying, manage your emotions, choose your words, monitor their reactions, adjust your approach, stay calm, stay focused. A lot of mental tasks simultaneously. But if you've already rehearsed, half that work is done. Already chosen your words, already anticipated their reactions, already planned your emotional regulation strategy. So when the conversation happens, you have mental bandwidth available, can listen more deeply, stay calmer, respond more thoughtfully. I've noticed this in myself. When I rehearse, the actual conversation feels easier, not scripted. I'm not scrambling. I'm present. And that presence creates better outcomes. Especially true for people who find social interaction draining. Rehearsing conserves energy, front-loading the mental work. So, when you're in the moment, you focus on connection instead of survival. Most people don't think strategically about their mental energy. Just show up and hope for the best. You show up prepared, and that preparation protects you. Trait 7. Intentional self-presentation standards. This is the deepest one. When you rehearse, it's not just about managing the other person. It's about being the version of yourself you want to be. You don't want to be reactive, harsh, inarticulate, someone you'll regret later. So you rehearse to show up well, not perfectly, intentionally. I've had moments where I didn't rehearse, walked into a conversation emotionally charged, said things I couldn't take back. Not terrible things, just not my best self. Afterward, I thought, if I'd just taken 10 minutes to think this through, that's what rehearsing gives you, the chance to be who you want to be, instead of who your emotions push you to be in the moment. This requires self-awareness and discipline. Most people let emotions drive. You use your mind to steer, not repression, self-leadership. You're saying, I care about how I treat people. I care about how I communicate. I care about leaving interactions better than I found them. Rehearsing is how you make that happen. Not about control, about integrity. You want your words to match your values, and you're willing to put in the mental work to make sure they do. So those are the 7 traits: precision standards, consequence processing, dual emotional safety, multi-branch scenarios, pattern recognition, cognitive load management, intentional self-presentation. Now the question, is rehearsing healthy, or should you try to stop? The nuanced answer: when rehearsing serves you, rehearsing is healthy when it helps you communicate clearly, protects relationships, reduces unnecessary conflict, helps you stay calm, aligns your words with your values, not overthinking, preparation. And preparation is respect for yourself, for the other person, for the conversation. When rehearsing traps you, it becomes unhealthy when it turns into avoidance. Rehearsing the same conversation 50 times and never having it. So focused on controlling the outcome, you can't be present. Rehearsing from fear instead of clarity. Trying to script every word because you don't trust yourself. That's when it crosses into anxiety. If that's happening, the solution isn't to stop rehearsing. The solution is to rehearse differently. Now let's talk about how to rehearse effectively. 1. Set a time limit. 10 to 15 minutes to mentally prepare. Run through key points. Anticipate a few responses. Choose your opening. Then stop. Trust you've done enough. 2. Focus on principles, not scripts. Instead of memorizing exact words, identify the principles you want to communicate. Be honest but kind. Set a boundary without attacking. Express needs without demanding. Principles give flexibility. Scripts make you rigid. 3. Rehearse the hard parts only. Don't rehearse small talk. Rehearse the moment where you say the difficult thing. That's what needs preparation. Rest can flow naturally. 4. Practice staying present. After rehearsing, remind yourself, I've prepared. Now I can listen. The goal isn't to control the conversation. The goal is to show up well and stay flexible. If you rehearse conversations in your head, you're not overthinking, not doing it wrong. You're someone with 7 rare cognitive traits. Precision communication standards, because you know words carry weight. The ability to process consequences in advance. While others are reacting, you've already seen 3 moves ahead. Deep respect for emotional safety, protecting yourself and the people you care about. A mind that runs multiple scenarios simultaneously, mapping every possible path the conversation could take. Pattern recognition for social dynamics. You've been studying people without even realizing it. Intentional mental energy management. You front-load the work so you can be present when it matters. And high standards for how you show up, because you care about being the version of yourself you respect. That combination is rare. And if you've made it this far in the video, there's a good chance you recognize yourself in at least one of these traits. Maybe all of them. If this resonates with you, if you're finally feeling understood instead of judged, subscribe to this channel, because this is what we do here. We take the patterns that make people feel different or too much, and we explain them. The goal here isn't to stop rehearsing. The goal is to rehearse in a way that serves you, without letting it trap you, without turning preparation into paralysis, without spending so much time in your head that you forget to actually have the conversation. Because rehearsing is a tool, and like any tool, it works when you control it, not when it controls you. So use it intentionally. Rehearse the hard parts. Trust yourself with the rest. And remember, the fact that you care enough to prepare, that's not weakness, that's integrity. Now tell me in the comments, which trait hit hardest? Type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. And if someone you know does this, if they rehearse every conversation, if they mentally prepare before every interaction, share this video so they can finally understand why their brain works this way. Because on this channel, we don't shame deep minds, we explain them. You're not too much, you're rare.